But please, if you can help me without hurting her.
She's schizophrenic, bipolar. She's not taking it.
I need the whole life.
Yeah.
This woman's family brought her to the hospital because she was schizophrenic and bipolar and was having complete psychotic breakdown. These police officers offered to help. This is Deputy Murillo with the Broward County Sheriff's Office.
She has bipolar.
You back up and let me talk to her.
He kindly yanked her out of the truck, got her on the ground, and then when he went to handcuff her, instead of bringing her arm this way, palms out, he brought her arm the other way and broke her arm. You can hear it snap. Then he handcuffed her. He wrote in his police report, "After a brief struggle, I was able to get control of her left arm and place it behind her back, which allowed me to properly and safely detain her. I heard a popping sound, but was unaware of what it was." Welcome back to the channel. This footage is absolutely brutal. It was submitted by Jennifer Ford, the lawyer from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who represents this woman. Obviously, I can't show this uncensored, but I will link the raw footage. I'll also link the full police report, as well as the lawsuit that she has filed. This involves Natalia Granada. She's from Colombia. On October 30th of 2023, she was driven to this hospital by her cousin and her sponsor for immigration purposes, Alex Granada. He was trying to get her help for her severe mental issues. So around 10 a.m. that morning, October 30th, they arrive at this hospital. Due to her mental state, she thought that she would be harmed if she exited the vehicle. Her cousin Alex walks inside the hospital. He asks the paramedic in triage for help in getting her inside the hospital for treatment. The paramedic declined to help her. Instead, he called 911. The 911 call begins with the paramedic stating, "She's crazy, won't get out of the car." The paramedic told the 911 operator that she was, quote, out of control, but he didn't actually examine her himself. A few minutes later, the first police officer arrives, Deputy Redfeam. Alex asked Deputy Redfeam if he had anyone who speaks Spanish, and he was asking for help.
Hi, how you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Do you have somebody speak Spanish?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, listen, I'm going through a very tough situation. If you can help me,
Okay, yeah.
please.
Is this your wife?
She's my cousin, my blood cousin. She just came from Colombia. I'm just recording so her mom knows.
Hey, amiga. Can you get her to come out here for me?
Mami, que dice que vengas un momentico aquí. Dice que vengas acá.
Mami, aquí.
Aquí, que salga un momentico, por favor.
Deputy Murillo arrived at the scene, and he was aggressive and hostile right from the very beginning. Alex attempted to explain to him that Natalia was having a breakdown and tried to inform him about her mental illnesses. He didn't want to hear about her mental health, and instead instructed Alex several times to just step away from the vehicle, which he did.
She has a breakdown. She has bipolar.
You back up and let me talk to her.
Okay, you can do it in Spanish.
Yep, back up. Just back up. Sir, go that way. See where that visitor sign is? Please go over there. Please stand over there. If you want our help, that's fine. Go over there. It's that simple. I speak Spanish. I don't need you to translate.
Again, she's very obviously in a psychotic state. She's not demonstrating that she's a threat to herself or anyone else. Her lawyer describes her behavior as whimsical and childlike and not the least bit aggressive or threatening.
Mamá, aquí estoy, mami, estoy en una fiesta de disfraces, vuelvo, por favor, vuelva. Mira, aquí están mis piecitos, amor, mira ese dedito.
Okay, ¿cuál es su nombre, señora? ¿Cuál es su nombre?
¿Qué hora es?
¿Cuál es su nombre?
Primero me dice la hora.
La hora son las 10 de la mañana. ¿Cuál es su nombre?
Natalia Andrea Granada Mejía. Mire, mire.
¿Pero qué le está pasando hoy?
Mire, me tenía que haber hecho las uñas. Y no me las hice. Y mire ya la hora que es. Y ustedes ya están aquí. Hey.
If he speaks English,
No, eso ya no se hace.
Give me something.
The other deputy then went and got more information from her cousin Alex, who told her that she was diagnosed bipolar and schizophrenia and stated that he had all of her paperwork. Alex pleaded with Deputy Redfeam to help Nathalia without hurting her.
I'm her sponsor.
So what? Okay, talk to me real quick.
Okay.
So what's your name? Who are you?
My name is Alexander Granada.
Okay.
I'm her sponsor and my mother. My mother is her godmother, and
Hang on. Let me get your.
She, please, if you can help me.
Hey, we're gonna help you, but
she has. I have all her paperwork.
Okay.
She has bipolar syndrome with
she's
schizophrenia.
diagnosed?
Yes, she's
Diagnosed.
diagnosed. So she just came
She's
into
self-diagnosed, or
no. She's been diagnosed for years. She doesn't have her medication for already a few months. She came into the country on March, but she was held in ICE for almost 3 months. So this affected a lot her condition. And then she, came out, and she's been good all these 6 months. She's been all right. This is the first time I see her like this.
What's your date of birth?
But please, I know she's like a little bit, distressed. But please, if you can help me without hurting her or anything like that.
All we're doing is just trying to get information
so
we can take
I've
her to
been
get
trying
help.
to bring her to the hospital since last night.
You drove her here?
I came over here because my mom.
Did you drive her or she drive?
No. I brought her here, yeah.
Yeah.
But all I know she needs the medication. But I have all her paperwork.
Okay.
She has, bipolar syndrome with the schizophrenia, this and that, whatever. And she's been.
Did she take medication?
Deputy Murillo then asked Redfeam if this was going to be a Baker Act, which means an involuntary commitment under Florida law. To which Redfeam responded, yeah, she's schizophrenic bipolar. Murillo then instructed Deputy Redfeam to stay on the driver's side of the vehicle, and he was going to the passenger side of the vehicle. And Deputy Redfeam attempted to inform Murillo that he had learned about Nathalia's mental health from Alex, stating she's schizophrenic and bipolar and not taking her medications.
She take medication in Colombia regularly.
Yeah, she's schizophrenic bipolar.
Stay here so I go on the other side.
Yeah.
But Deputy Murillo, again, did not want to hear it and instead cut him off, saying, I don't need her whole life.
She's schizophrenic bipolar.
Right,
She's not taking
I don't need the whole life.
Deputy Murillo then opened the passenger side door, and Nathalia turned towards him. Murillo stated the following in Spanish. Miss Nathalia, please get out of the car. Are you going to come out willingly, or will I have to pull you out with the chain? He said. And I don't want to do that. Nathalia pleaded with him no, and she refused to exit the truck. According to her lawyer, she didn't do or say anything in Spanish that could be interpreted as a threat to herself or a threat to anyone else. Nevertheless, Deputy Murillo then took hold of Nathalia's right arm, and he placed a handcuff on her right wrist, stating in Spanish, I'm not going to hurt you. Are you going to refuse to leave? Nathalia did not pull her right arm away, allowed Deputy Murillo to handcuff her. Nathalia extended her left arm out towards the driver's side door, away from Murillo and resting it over the armrest. Deputy Murillo demanded in Spanish, give me the other arm. Nathalia pleaded, ya, which likely means wait, and she refused to give him her left arm. So only 5 or 6 minutes after he had arrived on scene, and only 1 minute after being informed that Nathalia suffered from a serious mental illness, Deputy Murillo quickly and forcibly yanked her out of the vehicle by the chain as he threatened that he would do. Nathalia, who did not understand that he had planned to do this, pleaded with him. Amor, ya, still using terms of endearment when addressing Murillo. She's attempting to de-escalate the situation while Murillo is acting in a hostile and aggressive manner. The other deputy then runs around to the passenger side of the truck where Nathalia was already lying on her back on the concrete, with Deputy Murillo standing over her demanding in Spanish, give me your other arm, give me your other arm. Nathalie was scared. She didn't understand what was happening to her. Deputy Murillo managed to turn her over onto her stomach, keeping one knee on her buttocks and lower back. The two deputies then restrained her face down, and a third officer, Deputy Canino, appeared at Nathalie's head. He maneuvered her right handcuffed hand behind her back, with her palm turned out and the back of her hand resting against her lower back. Then brutally, Deputy Murillo then forced Nathalia's left arm down backwards, snapping her left humerus bone. You can actually hear the bone breaking. It's quite loud, and it's acknowledged by the deputies on the body cam. Deputy Canino then held Nathalia's broken left arm down backwards at a visibly unnatural angle, while Deputy Murillo placed the handcuff on her broken left arm.
Mami, vuelva, aquí estoy, mami. Yo estoy aquí, yo no lo vuelvo a hacer, mi amor.
Pare.
Ya
Pare.
paré, mi amor.
Hey, it's okay.
Ya.
Murillo then pulled on Nathalia's broken left arm to turn her over and sat her upright. Nathalia continued speaking nonsensically to Deputy Murillo, stating, "You told me it was only 9:05 in the morning here, my love. I was going to wait for you."
Hágase el lado.
Roll over, amigo.
Ahora súbase para arriba.
Me dijiste que aquí solamente eran las 9:05 de la mañana. Mi amor, ya yo te iba a esperar, mi
¿Qué
amor.
drogas? ¿Que haya hecho drogas?
Estás
Hágase.
doliendo.
Despite being confused, in a psychotic state, and in excruciating physical pain, Nathalia still spoke with kindness towards Deputy Murillo, this man who had just yanked her out by the chain of her own vehicle and broke her arm by forcing it down backwards behind her back.
Mira ese
¿Qué
dedito.
medicina no han tomado?
Mira ese dedito. Mami, yo no tengo. Ya volví.
Okay, hey, Canino, grab a wheelchair.
She's not gonna walk.
Mire la hora.
She just needs her medication.
Yeah,
I
but she's
have all the paperwork.
Mira el celular. Mira, ahí está el cargador.
And that's where the body cam ends. Her lawyer told me that after this, she was immediately wheeled into the hospital. She was indeed Baker acted, so she was committed and then placed in a sort of a lockdown psychiatric facility. She had to undergo surgery. An orthopedic surgeon had to essentially pin her arm back together, and it never completely healed. She still is left with these pins in her arm, decreased mobility just as a result of this incident. I mean, on top of all the mental issues that she already has been dealing with and that her family has to deal with. So a lawsuit was filed against the deputies involved and also their employer. And the main issue here is clearly excessive force. Even though they said that they would help, let's just assume that they're allowed to take her into custody forcefully if necessary under the Baker Act. And what's the reasoning for that? That would be because she poses a danger to herself or other people, primarily herself. She needs to get inside the hospital. She needs to be given her medications forcefully if necessary. Here, there are two main problems. One, Deputy Murillo rushed into this thing without getting the necessary information. He just kind of shoved everybody aside, and he's going to take care of everything himself because he speaks Spanish.
She has a breakdown. She has bipolar.
You back up and let me talk.
Okay. You can do that. It's fine.
Yep, back up. Just back up. Sir, go that way. See where that visitor sign is? Please go over there. Please stand over there. If you want our help, that's fine. Go over there. It's that simple. I speak Spanish. I don't need you to translate. Okay.
He didn't gather the facts, even as they're trying to tell him the facts. He's not wanting to hear it.
She's schizophrenic bipolar. She's not taking
I don't need the whole life.
Yeah.
In large police departments such as they have in Broward County, they have policies on how to deal with severe mental issues when they encounter them. They have resources that rural agencies don't have when it comes to dealing with people with severe mental health issues. There was no emergency here where he had to act before anyone else who knew better could assist. Instead, he resorted to just raw violence. yanking her out of the vehicle. And do I even have to explain that it was unnecessary and constitutionally excessive to bend her arm the wrong way to handcuff her? How barbaric was that? Completely unnecessary, cruel. Is just one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. And then, as I told you at the very beginning, he wrote in his report, it was just basically a routine handcuffing. He heard a sound, but he mentions nothing about breaking her arm in half. After a brief struggle, I was able to get control of her left arm and place it behind her back, which allowed me to properly and safely detain her. I heard a popping sound, but was unaware of what it was. I mean, this guy seems like a real psychopath. But you say, I don't really care. She shouldn't have been here anyways. She was from Colombia. She was already mentally ill. Why is she even in this country to begin with? I don't really care what happens to her. It's been long established that it doesn't matter whether you're legally in this country or you're illegally in this country or somewhere in between, and who knows what's going on at the current moment. One thing we do know is that police officers still have the same restrictions on them as far as trampling people's constitutional rights. Do we really want that guy just himself deciding who gets their humerus broken for no good reason? No, of course not. Constitutional rights are something that you either protect and enforce or you don't. And I would argue just the opposite, that I don't really care how this woman got here. What is really most important to me is that she is absolutely helpless. Like, she needs help. I don't know what kind of help specifically she needs, but I do know that it wasn't yanking her out of the vehicle and snapping her arm in half. My job as a civil rights lawyer is to help the most helpless among us. And this woman certainly is that. And if you would deny her basic, not just constitutional rights, but basic human rights, then how do you deserve them yourself? If you let this police officer be judge, jury, and executioner, do you trust him when he pulls over and encounters your daughter or your granddaughter? No, of course not. Like I said, this guy seems like a complete idiot and a psychopath. Perhaps he needs to be Baker acted. Far as I know, he's still out there encountering the public with his badge and his gun. In fact, from what I've heard from this woman's lawyer, she is still terrified of this guy. And despite that, knowing that, the lawsuit's going on now, and when they take her deposition, it's coming up, I think, later this week, they want him in the room with her to purposefully terrorize her. How sick is that? The abuse continues. Hopefully we'll have an update on what happens here. You can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.